Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I have another video that I'm going to present for you in two parts. I'm going to start with first part one, and I'll be talking about the Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. This is a scholarship that enables someone to study for a master's in Sweden. So I'll make two parts of this video. Part one, which I'll just try to introduce this scholarship to new applicants who are not so conversant about this scholarship. Then part two will delve more into the scholarship, how to complete the various application forms that you have to complete, such as the motivation letter, the CVs, and also the references. So this part one is basically meant for those who are not so much familiar with this scholarship, and it will be very brief. I'm going to briefly introduce about what the scholarship is about, what are the eligibility criteria, so that you'll be able to determine if you are eligible for this scholarship or not. Then I'll talk about the application timelines. There are important timelines that you need to take particular attention of, and then I'll conclude to what you need to do now before the part two is released. So let's go in with the introduction. What are the Swedish Institute scholarship? So these scholarship, like many other scholarship, the first thing is that they are prestigious and they will enable you to study a scholarship, to study your masters in Sweden, and basically it's available in about 33 countries. I'm going to show these 33 countries that are eligible for this scholarship. So they are very prestigious, enable you to study your master's course in Sweden if you come from these 33 countries. And this master's can be for 1 year or for 2 years, depending on the length of the scholarship. But you should be aware that most of the courses at master's levels in Sweden, they are for 2 years. So you'll be able to be funded fully in terms of all your tuition fee will be covered. Then you are going to be given a flight ticket to go and study in Sweden. You'll be given a monthly living stipend or an allowance, which is about 12,000 Swedish crowns. You'll also be given the application process for your visa will be part of the package that you're going to receive. Then there will be also a travel grant that you're going to receive for you to be able to travel within Sweden. And as part of you being awarded this scholarship, you have an opportunity of joining the Swedish Institute network of global professionals as you are studying. And once you complete, you'll be able to join the alumni group from your country where you belong to, and you'll be able to do various activities that these alumni do in those countries that are eligible for the scholarship. And lastly, to introduce this scholarship is like other scholarship, the scholarship is focused on developing professional leaders or global leaders who are going to advance in terms of sustainable development goals. So even as you are trying to apply for this scholarship, you need to put it in mind that the scholarship itself is focused on developing leaders, and therefore you need to align your application to leadership, and it should be focused on demonstrating how you are going to contribute to achieving the sustainable development goals in your country by the courses that you are going to choose. So that is a brief introduction. Now, what are the eligibilities for the scholarship? The first one is that you need to come from the 33 countries that are eligible, and these are the countries that I'm showing on the screen. The ones that are highlighted are countries that you need to not demonstrate the issue of meeting the minimum of 3,000 hours for you to be eligible. So that is one of the eligibility criteria for this scholarship, is that apart from you being part of these 33 countries that are eligible for the scholarship, you need to demonstrate that you have a minimum of 3,000 work experience, which can be proven with up to a maximum of 3 employee experiences. So for those countries that are coming from the ones that are highlighted, they are exempted from providing this requirement of demonstrating the minimum hours of 3,000 as part of them being eligible for this scholarship. The other eligibility is that the scholarship is only for programs or master's courses that are eligible for this scholarship. And this is why I'm doing part 1 and part 2, because the list of the list of courses that are eligible for this scholarship are going to be released in November, and that is when you'll be able now to do your complete application once the list of eligible courses have been released and other documents that are required for you to apply for the scholarship are released. So that is when you're only going to apply to those eligible courses. It's not open to any course that you want to study. It has to be one of the courses that will be eligible from the list that is going to be released on the 12th of November. The other thing for you to be eligible for this scholarship is that you need to pay an application fee to the university admission. So this application fee is 900 Swedish kron, which is roughly around $95. So the way this scholarship operates is that there are two processes. There is a process for you to be admitted to the courses that you are going to choose. So you'll be required to choose at least 4 different courses from the list that is going to be released on the 12th of November. So from those 4 lists of courses that you are going to choose, you'll be required to apply using a separate application portal from the scholarship. And that separate application portal is centrally managed by the university admission. So you simply go to universityadmission.se, and that is where you are going to select those 4 courses, and you are going to apply for admission once the list has been released on the 12th of November. However, the scholarship itself is now open on the 16th of October, as you are going to see in the timeline. So be mindful that for you to be eligible for the scholarship, you needed to have paid the application fee, and I'm going to show in the timeline on the deadline when you're supposed to pay this 900 Swedish kron as part of your application for admission to the 4 courses. The other thing that you need to demonstrate for you to be eligible is your leadership skills. Like I mentioned already in the introduction, the scholarship is leadership focused, so you'll be required to write your motivation letters on leadership and demonstrate that you have that leadership experience, which should be either from your profession or from your network. So that is where they are emphasizing. You shouldn't include other form of leadership. They should either be from your profession or from your network, your professional networks. That is the emphasis of this scholarship. Now, when it comes to the application timeline, this is very important for you to understand if you are new to this scholarship, for you to know when you're supposed to do and what you are supposed to do before that deadline comes. So the first thing is that the scholarship has officially opened on the 16th of October, and at this stage you are eligible now to go through the information that is provided on the website and see if you can start applying for admission. So the program for applying for you to be admitted to the university has officially opened. However, the list of scholarship, the list of courses that are eligible for the scholarship is not yet released. So I'm going to give you some of the hints that you need to be considering doing at the moment before the list comes out. However, the first thing that you need to know in terms of the timeline is that starting from the 16th of October, this scholarship has officially opened for application. So the first stage is for you to apply for admission in the selected 4 courses that you're going to select. There is a central system managed by the university admission where you're going to make your application. You select the 4 courses and you apply, you upload all the required documents. And after the deadline, then the second stage will come in, and that is when the scholarship itself is going to open. And the scholarship will only open for 2 weeks, so you will only be required to upload the document, because all the required documents for you to apply for the scholarship would have been already released, and we just need for you to upload them and submit your application for each of the selected courses, and I'll explain more in detail in part 2 when that time comes for part 2. So this admission is now open. The next part of the timeline that you need to be aware of is on the 12th of November. That is when the official list of those courses that are eligible for the scholarship is going to be released. So after 12th November, you are going to know the list of all the eligible courses to be applied for before you can apply for the scholarship. So the scholarship is only applicable to that list that is going to be released, and at the same time they are also going to release all the documents that are required for you to apply for the scholarship. So this includes the template for your motivation letter that you have to write, the template for the references that you need to give your referee to write for you and they stamp them officially, or they will be required to notarize them, and also other required documents which we will explain in part 2. So by 15th of January 2026, the admission now will be closed. So for you to be admitted to the 4 courses, you needed to make an application by the 15th of January 2026. If you do not do the first part, which involves you applying to the eligible courses by selecting 4 of the eligible courses, then you are not going to be considered for the scholarship. By the 2nd of February 2026, you need to have paid that 900 Swedish crowns, which I've mentioned, which is about $95. You need to pay through the university admission website, where you're also going to make your application for admission to the 4 courses that you are going to include when you apply for the scholarship. And then from 9th to 25th of February, which is just 2 weeks, the scholarship application is going to open. So the portal will be open, and this is the stage where now you're going to be able to upload the documents that you have already obtained from your referee, your motivation letter, you have written it, your CV has been written, and all other required information for the scholarship would be ready. So you will just be uploading and submitting for each of the 4 courses that you are going to select. So you need to select 4 courses, rearrange them and rank them in terms of priority. So the ranking also needs to be done by the 16th of January when you are going to be applying for the courses. So what happens is that your number 1 course, the one that you are going to rank as the first, is the one that is going to be considered first for admission and for the scholarship. If you do not get admitted in your first scholarship, in your first course, then your first course is not going to be considered for the scholarship. You are only going to be considered for the scholarship in the course number that you are going to be admitted in among those 4 courses that you are going to apply for. And by the 26th of March, you are going to receive information on the results of being admitted for the university. So which courses have you been admitted to the university and which one? So if by this stage you have not been admitted to any of the 4 courses, then it means your scholarship will not be considered by then. But if you are going to be admitted to 2 or 3 courses, then you should be able to start thinking of which one of those 4. If you are going to be admitted in the second course, then know that the second application is the one that is going to be considered for the scholarship evaluation. And by the 23rd of March 2026, the results of your scholarship will be out, and you will know if you have been awarded or you've been put on reserve or you are not successful at that point. And from that point, those who are going to be successful, they will be contacted and they will start processing their visa and ensure that they start their study in autumn. So in a nutshell, this is the application timeline. So now let's go on to what you need to do before 12th November, when all the required documents for you to apply for the scholarship are out, and the list of courses that you need to select from for you to apply for admission before the 15th of January 2026 are out. What do you need to do? So there are a few things that you need to do. The first thing is that you can go on to the university admission website and create an account and start to read the information so that you are aware of the process of applying, what other documents are required, and everything that is required before you select the list of courses when the list is released on the 12th of November. So again, you get yourself familiarized with the website, what type of documents will be required. There is a point where they will require you to submit your English requirements, so you need to see and start thinking of obtaining that English requirement well in advance. Your academic qualification, if they need your transcript, they need your certificate for you to be admitted, you need to organize all those documents. All that information will be obtained from the university admission website and not the Swedish Institute Scholarship website. So these are two websites, and they are two different, they are providing two different things. The first stage is for you to apply for admission in the 4 courses, and this is managed by university admission, which is the central portal for the Swedish Council of Higher Education. Okay. Then the second stage, when it comes to the scholarship application, that is when now we are going to apply for admission using the Swedish Institute Scholarship portal, which is only going to open in February, on the 9th of February. But the documents that are required for you to apply for the scholarship are going to be released on the 12th of November. So the other thing that you can also do as you are waiting for this document to be released is also to read the information that is available on the Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professional website for you to be familiarized with the process of the scholarship. There is a lot of information on the frequently asked questions, what documents needs to be submitted, or what information was asked in the previous application round. And that is going to help you for you to just know more about the scholarship since you are new to the scholarship. However, if you are already familiar with this process, I think what I can advise you is now to just go on, register an account, create a new account, and you already know the documents that are required. Therefore, you need to wait until the 12th of November. Once the list of eligible courses is released, then you can apply. If you're not from any of the eligible countries, you can look on the Swedish Institute website. They have different scholarships, and even the university themselves, they also have scholarships, and you can apply to those scholarships which are outside the Swedish Institute scholarship for you to see if you are going to be admitted. Okay, the other thing that you need to do is to update your CV with all your work experience. This is very important, and it's going to help you when it comes to you to select what kind of experiences you are going to include in the CV template that will be released on the 12th of November. So you need to list all the information, and this I'm going to explain more of what type of experiences is going to give you an added advantage to put on your CV in part 2 of the video. For now, what I want you to do is to put all your work experience in one CV and have them ready so that you'll be able to brainstorm and select from that CV to include the information that will be required once the template is released. The other thing that I would like you to do is to also do an introspection. Do you have the minimum working hours that are required for you to be eligible for this scholarship? Quite all right, you are coming from an eligible country, but do you have the minimum of 3,000 working hours experience, which you can demonstrate in up to a maximum of 3 work experiences? If you do have, well and good, you have to wait for that list, and then you'll be able to complete the documents. If you do not meet those requirements, I would encourage you to consider this scholarship next year as you keep on building those work experience, or up to the point when you are going to meet that 3,000 working hours, because it has been emphasized on the website that the more work experience you have, the more you are on an added advantage. So you need to have this work experience for you to be eligible for the scholarship. And this is why I've put up this as a point to consider as you are waiting for the list to be published. If you do not have, well and good, you can consider other scholarships. There are a lot of scholarships that are available for you to consider. Do not limit yourself to only one scholarship. The other thing is also to decide who is going to be your referee. It's very important that you consider now and you contact them that you are going to give them these templates which they will need to fill in. Be mindful that they will be required to be stamped using an official stamp, or they will need to be notarized. So the referee that you're going to select, they need to be willing to go that extra mile of ensuring that they are able to stamp with the official stamp on your references, and they are able to also go and do the notary part if it requires them to notarize if they do not have an official date stamp. And that will also go to the work experience that you are going to include in your application. So start thinking of that before the scholarship templates are released on the 12th of November. The other thing that you need to do is also to consider if you have a valid identification such as the passport. That is very important. This is required for you to upload as you are applying for your university admission to the first courses that you are going to select, and will also be required for the scholarship. For you to go and study in Sweden, you definitely need to have a valid passport. So if your passport is not valid, this is a time to start considering how to renew that passport. If you do not have one, this is a time to consider to apply so that you can have one well in advance. You still have enough time up to the 15th of January 2026 when the first stage of applying for admission in the 4 courses is going to elapse when that deadline passes. And finally, start preparing the 900 Swedish crowns that is required for you to pay as part of your admission, and the deadline is on the 2nd of February 2026. So you have the whole of November, you have the whole of December, and you have the whole of January. So you have about 3 months to prepare for this 900 Swedish kron if you are seriously considering this application, and that is only about $95 for you to make an application. So this is what I thought of explaining in my part 1. So please be on the lookout for part 2, where I'm going now to talk more in details on each of the templates for the scholarship that you need to complete. I'm also going to give you more details on how you are going to prioritize the courses, because you need to select the 4 courses and list them in terms of priority, rank them in terms of priority. But my part 2 will mainly be based on explaining to you how you are going to complete the CV template, how you are going to complete your motivation letter on leadership and networking, how you are going to ensure that your referees are up to point, and other documents that are required for the scholarship. So please take this first step seriously if you are seriously considering this scholarship. And with these points that I've mentioned, thank you for reaching to the end of this video. And if you have any comments, you have any question, please drop them in the comment section and I'll be able to address them. And thank you very much for your attention. And please do like and share this video if you want someone to also benefit like the way you benefited, and be on the lookout for part 2 after the 12th of November when the official scholarship templates are released. I'm going to do an extensive video to explain how to complete those templates for you to increase your chances of being awarded. So with that being said, thank you very much once more, and goodbye for now.